Hello everyone, this is Professor Sean Stewart, your professor for Speech 1315 Public Speaking Online first 8 weeks, well 7 weeks now. I'm just going to go over the course syllabus here in this video and then go over some online myths that you may have heard at the end of this. This will hopefully give you an idea give you some better explanation of some things that are going on in this class that are happening in the syllabus. So hopefully I can answer some questions that you might have. First things first, if you've never taken an online class before, or maybe if you have, you would know that Lone Star College doesn't specifically designate online classes to the campus that is your designated home campus. What that means is your home campus or the classes where you take face-to-face classes at could be at Cy-Fair, could be Tomball, could be Montgomery, could be North Harris. However, I am housed out of University Park. That's where my office is, so my contact information is right there. I'm in the 13th building and on the 8th floor, office number 802. That's in case you want to come by, say hi, ask a question, do what you want. I actually have had a couple of online students already swing by my office because they were out of University Park. But if you're not and you're on campus and you want to do that, that's totally cool. You see my office phone number here. I ask that you do not call me, and I'm not trying to be funny about that. I just absolutely do not like talking on the phone. I'd rather talk to you face to face. However, I do understand that sometimes you do need a call. I'm just warning you now, the chances of you actually reaching me in my office are very slim. The only time you would reach me there is during my office hours, so just something to be aware of. The best bet for you all is D2L chat or send me an email in D2L. But if it's something really urgent and you need to talk to me via phone, that is my office number. You see this email address right here. That is my faculty email. Do not use that. That's only for emergencies only. The best bet to email me is through D2L. That's how I email you. That's how you'll email me. So just something to be aware of. Only use that for emergencies only. And then Twitter handle right here, Mr. Sean LSC. I typically post announcements about campus closures if something were to occur, announcements about the class, and I am known to throw up a bonus question on there every now and then in case you see it. So the textbook for this class is online. If you have the physical textbook that you purchase, you have a couple of options. You can either keep it and use it in addition to the online textbook, or you can try to take it back to get your money back. For this class, you will need the Connect Access card for this textbook. I have been told by students from my face-to-face public speaking class today that they are out of access cards for this public speaking class. I am in the process of figuring out if that's true or not. I should find out tomorrow morning. If that is true, I will send out an email to you all. But one thing I don't want you to do is freak out. Please do not freak out. This is not a traditional semester after what has happened with the hurricane. So the one key word for this semester for me is flexibility. So don't freak out if you don't have it. Don't freak out if you can't get it. We will adjust and go from there. But what I am saying is you need the Connect Access card for the textbook in this class, not the physical textbook, as that is also where you're taking your quizzes. How the quizzes work, I upload a chapter to Connect, and as you're reading the chapter, a random question will pop up to ask you a multiple choice type question. Could be true, false, could be anything, over what you just read. Okay, so that's how the quizzes work. So that's why you need the access card and not the physical textbook. You will also need access to PowerPoint. You will need materials for visual aid. I prefer PowerPoint, but I'm okay with you using Prezi, a recording device such as a cell phone or a camera, and a 5-member adult audience. And we're going to get to that at the public speaking part of the syllabus here in a minute. Because this is public speaking, this doesn't get in depth into intercultural, interpersonal things that we do in my other classes. But there is an online presence. And during the online presence and the discussion boards, one of the things I ask is that you be aware of where we are. This isn't a place to be offensive. This isn't a place to be pushy in terms of maybe some controversial beliefs, things of that nature. We're here to learn, okay? So anything that I put out there is for a learning purpose. I do deem what's offensive and what isn't, and I will tell you this. If somebody posts something that's really, really absurd and offensive on the discussion board, I try to read every single discussion board. Keep in mind, I'm teaching several online classes this semester, but I go through the discussion boards and I do read them. If for some reason I don't catch something and you think it's a bit too absurd, just send me an email and let me know and I'll go back and look at it. But just be aware of where we are, what our context is, and our context is higher education and learning at the college level. Keep in mind, you'll hear me say this a lot through this video. An online class doesn't mean work at your own pace. I'm not sure where people get that from. I think they get that from the University of Phoenix commercials, which no offense to anyone that went to the University of Phoenix, but there's a reason why some of these online-only schools are not doing very well, because they started off with a work at your own pace type atmosphere, type learning, and that's not how it works. There are deadlines for modules, there are deadlines for assignments, and you are must meet those deadlines. So you are responsible for participating and attending, attending in quotation marks, participating on the discussion boards and making an online presence for this course since it is online. However, if for some reason you peruse through this video, you peruse through the syllabus, something occurs, and you think to yourself, this isn't for me, I can't do it, because keep in mind, this is a 7-week course. This is very, very fast-paced. So you have to do 5 major speeches in 7 weeks. If for some reason you think to yourself, I can't do that, you're responsible for dropping yourself, meaning you're responsible for going to student services to withdraw yourself from the course. You're an adult, it's your responsibility. It's not my responsibility as the professor. So if you never come back or you never log back in, and it's after a certain day, which will be September 12th, we were just told, then it's going to suck because it's going to be an F on your transcript. Okay, so remember, if you make the conscious decision not to do anything anymore, you should probably withdraw yourself from the class. Office hours and emails. If you have any questions, just send me an email. I'm very good about answering emails because I know how I was as an undergrad, and I didn't like it when my professors never answered. So I make it a point to be very, very on top of answering student emails. So it's just something to be aware of. If you send me an email after about 10, 11, or 12 o'clock on a Friday, you're probably not going to get a response to that Monday. Unless there's a big project coming up, such as a speech that's due, things of that nature. But I'm pretty good about checking email periodically to make sure everybody's good to go, especially during the week of a speech. When you send me an email, it's appropriate to be proper and professional. For example, my name is not Hey. If you send me an email starting off with the word Hey or no greeting at all, I'll just delete it. The proper way to send a professor an email is, Professor Stewart, this is John Doe or Jane Doe from your interpersonal public speaking 8-week 1 course, and then go into what it is you need to discuss, and then ending the email with thank you or sincerely or regards or something along those lines. That just shows professionalism as a student. For some chapters, we have, I believe there are 19 chapters in this text. For some of the chapters, I will make a quick hit. What a quick hit is it's a video of me quickly going over a course concept, a theory, or something that I think is of importance and needs further discussion. These quick hits will be no longer than 15 minutes, and for some of them, they could be as short as about 5 minutes. One of the things I don't want you to think is that these quick hits are designed to replace your reading. They're not designed to replace the course reading. They're designed to be supplemental. Not only that, there's not going to be a quick hit for every chapter. I can guarantee you that. The second thing, there might be information I put up on the quick hit that you're still responsible for when it comes to the exams and the final exam. Okay. Also, for this class, public speaking, there's been some stuff I've put in a quick hit that I expect you to do in a speech. And if you don't do it in a speech, well, then that's your fault for not watching the quick hit. Okay. I'm putting these there for supplemental for your benefit in this class. All assignments are due on the due date posted in D2L, and you will see every due date posted in D2L since this is an online course. There are no makeup exams offered in this class. It's your responsibility to log into D2L and Connect every day. Remember, we're only here for 7 weeks. This class ends in the middle of October. You got to log in to D2L and Connect every single day. It's not my job to remind you to log into this. Not only that, from this point on, always use your D2L email. I won't respond to anything from Yahoo, Hotmail, or Gmail anymore. I can only respond to stuff in D2L. Chain of command, if there's an issue that you have with me, the first person you should come talk to is me. I guarantee you we will figure it out, or I will have an answer for you. There's no guarantee that you're going to like the answer I have, but I will have an answer ready for you. If for some reason you and I can't resolve it, then you go to our department chair. His name is Dave Gare. He is also at University Park on the 8th floor. His office is right down the hall from mine. And if you and he cannot figure it out, then you will go to the dean, Dr. Lawrence Brandyberg, the Dean of Behavioral Sciences. You don't go, if you have a problem with me, you don't go straight to the dean or straight to the president or straight to the CEO. Think about it like this. If you worked at Starbucks and you had a problem with your CEO, or I'm sorry, if you had a problem with your supervisor at a Starbucks in Houston, because that's where you work, you can't go straight to the CEO in Seattle and say, hey, I have an issue at this Starbucks in Houston off of Louetta. You go to your supervisor and you work yourself up the chain. Campus carry, that doesn't apply to you guys since this is an online course. Basic need, this is something I added to my class this semester. Essentially what it means is this. If there's some sort of basic need that you're having difficult getting access to, please let me know. And that would be food, water, shelter, clothing. You're having trouble paying a bill because you don't have any money. You can't pay rent and you're about to be evicted. Things of that nature. I will help you in any way, shape, form, and fashion. Not only that, the university, the college has ways to help you, or we have resources we can guide you to help you. I always tell this story. A semester or two ago, we found out someone at University Park was living in his car for 3 weeks, and no one knew it. We found that out. We helped him get a place. I just heard of a story 2 weeks ago of a student last semester at Kingwood who was in a similar situation. She didn't have a place to live with her and her mom. So anytime it would rain, the only thing they had above them was a tin roof, and water would get in all the time. So if you have some sort of basic need that needs to be addressed, send me an email or a note and let me know, and I will point you to the proper place in order to get that basic need hopefully met. When you look at the syllabus, you can peruse this at your leisure, frequently asked questions about the class, about technical help, things of that nature. Part of this class is discussion boards, okay? So we have modules and discussion boards. In these discussion boards, this is how you do class participation. This is how collaboration in an online class works, is through these discussion boards. It's not the perfect system, but it is the most perfect for online across the country thus far, across the world thus far, actually. So in discussion boards, they're worth 15 points apiece, and for each module, I will give you anywhere from 2 questions minimum to 5 questions maximum to answer. Your answers total for every question that I possibly ask, all of the answers should equal a minimum of 500 words. You should not be writing 500 words for each question. All answers total should equal 500 words. That's just the minimum. So yes, you can have more than 500 words if you see fit. But one of the things that you should not be doing is this. If you write your answers and you see all of them don't equal up to 500 words, and then you go back and put in the questions to make it equal 500 words. That does not work. That still gets you a -5. Okay? Or -3, I'm sorry. So something to be aware of. And keep in mind, let's say I ask you 3 questions, and your first 2 answers are maybe like 3 sentences apiece, and that's only maybe 150 words total. Well, now you got to answer the 3rd question in pretty good length and pretty good detail in order to meet the 500 word minimum. You post your answers before or on the first post due date. And what the first post due date is the day that your first post or the answers to the questions that I am asking are due. And then I'll give you about 2 or 3 days to make your replies to students. Okay? If you don't meet the criteria of making your first post by the first post due date, it's automatically -5 before I start assessing or grading what it is that you've written. Now, you do have to have 2 replies to the post of your classmates. Both replies must meet the minimum of 150 words apiece. If one of your replies meets 150 words, but the other one doesn't, then it's an automatic -3. They both have to meet the minimum of 150 words. You're starting to see a lot more people who teach online go to the first post due date. And the reason I started this is because it allows you to post your original thought and it gives your classmates time to do their job. And their job is to reply to 2 other classmates. If not, if there was no first post due date, most of you would just post everything at the very last minute. And that's not fair to your classmates to give them time to do their job, which is to respond to 2 other classmates. So this works out pretty well, and I think you'll see yourself getting into a rhythm as we go along throughout the semester. You can read this at your leisure, an example in that initial post, 5 steps to developing a message, a substantive message, netiquette on the internet, and then discussion boards and things of that nature. So you'll be giving 5 speeches in this 7-week course. That's right, 5 speeches. 3 major speeches, okay? Introduction speech, informative, persuasive 1, persuasive 2, and a special occasion speech. Your persuasive speech number 2 must utilize PowerPoint. So you're thinking to yourself, Mr. Sean, how am I supposed to utilize PowerPoint at home? There are a ton of ways for you to do this, okay? I've seen some great PowerPoint presentations from students who took a public speaking course online. For your videotaping expectations, as I said before, you must have a 5 adult member audience, and I'm not going to get into semantics and argue about what's an adult or who looks like an adult. If they're 16 or over, they're an adult, okay? What I'm basically saying here is no children, no babies, unless they're in conjunction with your 5 adult audience. So if you have 5 adults and one of your adults wants to bring their 3-year-old kid and they're going to be quiet and listen to you speak, then I'm fine with that, okay? If I can't see the presentation or there are technical issues, we have a problem, and it's probably going to be a 0. If you start your speech and then say, stop, let me start over, that's an automatic 0. Because we can't do that in public speaking. We don't even do that in face-to-face class public speaking. So something to be aware of. I put here you should be recording your speeches in a atmosphere that's similar to a classroom. Not everyone has access to that. But if you look at the helpful video recording hints, there are places on the Lone Star campuses in the library where you can check out rooms that could be of benefit to recording. So if you make friends with other people in the class and 6 of you get together and you want to record your speeches all at once, then that could work out for you as well. But some examples of what some students have done in the past. I've had students rearrange their living room to look like a classroom. And that's my Alexa. I have students who have... Sorry, I had to start and stop to turn off Alexa. I've had students who have rearranged their living room to look like a classroom, and they've sat down like that. I've had students rearrange the dining room table. That's typically what most students do, is they rearrange the dining room table to where people are on the sides and they're at the head of the table giving their speech, and someone's filming at the opposite end. I'm totally fine with that as well. Where we get into trouble is when you record outside, or you record at the club, or you record in a hallway, something along those lines. Those are inexcusable and aren't allowed. Just a couple of other things when it comes to recording. Your best bet is to upload your recording to YouTube, and then send me the YouTube link in the Dropbox. Where students tend to go wrong, though, is they'll leave their YouTube as private instead of public, so I can't view it. If that were to occur, I typically send you an email and say, take it off of private so I can view it, and I give you 24 hours. If it's not off of private after 24 hours, you just get a straight up 0 for that speech. Okay? And if you have any other questions about speech policies, please either put it in the discussion board for course questions or send me an email and let me know, and I'll send it out to the class. So your first speech is an introductory speech. It's not one of the major speeches. As I said before, you are required to give the informative speech, the persuasive speech number 1, and the persuasive speech number 2 in order to pass the class. So if you don't give informative, persuasive 1 or persuasive 2, but you give the others, you'll get an automatic F. The absolute required speeches are informative, and both persuasive speeches. Okay, so just be aware of that. 19 quizzes worth 10 points apiece. All the quizzes are, make sure you're keeping up with the readings. These quizzes should not take you longer than 20-25 minutes. Syllabus quiz that you need to take, and I uploaded that today, or uploaded that already, so you have that at your leisure. There's no late work is not accepted. There are no reviews for final exam or for any of the exams in the class. If you feel, keep in mind, you don't have to come to campus to take your exams or your final exam. But if you want to take it in the testing center, I need at least 72 hours notice about that. And if you, this doesn't apply to you about your speech on the assigned day, so ignore that. And I could possibly give extra credit throughout the course of the semester. So this is the grade determination. I do the point system in this class for 2 reasons. Number 1, all you have to do is add up the points at any point throughout the semester and you know your grade. But number 2, most 4-year universities do the point system, so you'll be acclimated to that when you transfer out to your 4-year institution. And then here's the course calendar. Pretty simple. Okay? Academic integrity, essentially, don't cheat, don't plagiarize. It is still possible to cheat in a public speaking course, just be aware of that. If I catch you plagiarizing or cheating, I will try to get you kicked out of the university, and you will receive an F for that assignment and this course. And I am 1 for 1 on that, so just be aware. You can read all of this at your leisure. One of the things I do want to point out is the withdrawal policy here. The last day to withdraw a class with a grade of W is November 13th. Remember, it's your responsibility to drop. And before you drop, if you're thinking about dropping this class, before you drop, I just ask that you talk to me. You come talk to me, because sometimes some students overreact. I'll be open and honest with you. There's no need for me to sugarcoat it with you. If you need to drop, I'll tell you, hey, you need to drop. I'll give you an example. I had a student a couple of semesters ago whose dad, halfway during the semester, came down with leukemia. That's where she asked me, should I drop? And my response was yes. But sometimes we overreact, so try not to use one of your drops here. But I will say this, a W on your transcript looks better than an F, okay? And I think some students think they can make an F in the class, then retake the class later, and the F, and make an A, and the A takes place of the F, and that's not true. The F always stays on your transcript. The 0 is always factored into your GPA. You only get 6 drops throughout your educational career in Texas. Another one I wanted to point out is FERPA. I'm not sure if we have some dual credit or high school students in this class. If you're dual credit, please send me an email to let me know. But FERPA just means I can only talk to you about your grades. I can't talk to your mom, your dad, your abuela, only you about your grades. And that even applies to some police activity as well. If the cops ask me certain questions, I can only answer some of them, not all of them, when it comes to you in this course. And then just a few more about evaluation, enter an email. But the other part I want to get to is this. If you are not familiar with University Park, we have a ton of stuff for you. We have counseling, we have tutoring, there's a math hotspot, a science hotspot, we have a writing lab, we have a technology lab. This is probably the best library in the entire system on all 6 campuses. So you have all these tools for you to help you create really, really awesome speeches for this class. The only question is, will you utilize those tools? And then finally, the syllabus caveat, which just basically means I can change the syllabus whenever I want, but I will be honest, I never do that unless it benefits you. The only time I'll change it is to give you more time to do something, or if there's an error on my part, and I will always let you know that ahead of time. So now I want to go to a couple of myths about online courses. And keep in mind, y'all are in a unique spot because you're an 8-week course, so you're very, very fast-paced. That means you have to do 5 speeches in 8 weeks. That's a little bit hectic. But I want to give you a couple of myths about online courses. First things first, online courses are not work at your own pace. You guys have due dates and assignments just like face-to-face classes do. Okay, so it's not a work at your own pace type deal. There's not less work and there's not more work in an online class. You do the exact same assignments as my face-to-face class. If you look at the syllabus I have for you all and the syllabus I have for my face-to-face public speaking class, it's the exact same thing. They have to do the same 5 speeches. They have the same requirements in terms of their required speeches. They also have to have a PowerPoint as well. Okay, so it's the same assignments. They're just in a face-to-face course. Some of you might take online classes because you feel like you don't have to communicate with anybody online, and that's not true as well. Discussion boards are there for a reason. They take the place of class interaction, class participation, the collaborative learning. And I've heard a few comments over the course of the semesters, over the course of the years. Students say online is either easier or harder, and I actually say that's false. It's neither. It's just a different mode. It's just a different method. It's just delivered differently. So don't think online you get more work, because you don't. The discussion boards are a little bit more, but you have to keep in mind what you're doing on the discussion boards. Face-to-face classes have to do under the guise of class participation, and they get graded for that as well, and the grades equal out. So don't think you're doing more or less, and it's easier or harder. So if you have any questions, please send me an email, let me know, or put your question on the question section of the discussion board so that the entire class can see, because the chances are somebody else might have the same question, and I look forward to having you in this class.